Do what Jersey Joe Walcott did at age 37, only Holmes will try to do it at age 38. A grandfather, and has there ever been one before that's fought for or won a heavyweight championship? Walcott did it against Ezra Charles. He knocked him out in 1951, but remember, Jersey Joe Walcott never stepped away from the ring as Larry Holmes has.
And he was a knockout fighter who caught his opponent with one great punch. Not likely to happen tonight.
17 years the difference between these two. Second largest age difference in a heavyweight title fight. And of course, Floyd Patterson knocking out Archie Moore, who was then 42 years old.
At least.
Archie Moore, incidentally, quoted as saying he gives Larry Holmes a chance, wouldn't you know it?
Well, maybe that's why so much interest is generated in this fight. We've got all the great people out there.
This fight has really brought him out. Celebrity count here probably as big as I've ever seen.
Well, certainly in Atlantic City. Kirk Douglas, who came to prominence doing a movie called Champion, from a short story by Ernest Hemingway.
And that is only part of the celebrity crowd that's on hand here. The heavyweight champions to regain the heavyweight title. Floyd Patterson, of course, knocking out Ingmar Johansson in 1960. The last one, Tim Witherspoon and Tony Tubbs. A dog of a fight.
If I was an editor, I would have to say I'd cross that one out. A general principle.
Hardly falls into one of the great moments in sports.
And 15 years ago tonight, George Foreman defeated Joe Frazier. Tonight, George Foreman's 40th birthday, and of course, he's trying to make a comeback.
At 40 years of age, and he considers himself a bona fide contender down the road for Mike Tyson's title. Larry Holmes, incidentally, coming back saying this isn't only for the money. That question has been asked all along. He says it's not only for the money. He says it gives me the opportunity to kick back.
I wonder where Larry is. Is he having second thoughts?
Just playing a little bit of a tactical game. Speaking of playing games,
who's that fellow?
I know that guy from somewhere. I can't place him.
And right in front of him, Michael Spinks.
So a couple of the boxing greats, I think it's fair to say. Barbra Streisand.
And Don Johnson.
It's your old tennis partner.
It's my buddy.
Played with him in Aspen not terribly long ago. And here, of course, perhaps the most familiar face, present company included, I think it's fair to say, in the sport of boxing, and Donald Trump, our host.
Ladies and gentlemen, two-time Academy Award winner here at ringside, Mr. Jack Nicholson.
In a sense,
Larry Holmes continues to just sit it out, putting everybody, this crowd, not Mike Tyson so much, but everybody else on ice for the moment.
Yeah, in a sense, this big crowd is here as a tribute to Holmes, because the promotion itself just has gone out of sight quite unexpectedly by everybody who was close to it. They're really stunned by the response to this, and in a way it's saying, yeah, Larry Holmes was a quality athlete, a champion for 7 years. How many great-looking prospects, short-term champions there were in that time who couldn't sustain it, and this man did. And he is still, judging by this crowd and the audience we know that's out there in television land, regarded as one of the marquee names presently in boxing.
And it's, as you said, actually, really perhaps a case of amnesia, because you look at some of these figures and it really tells you just how good Larry Holmes once was.
Yeah, and here are some of the things he accomplished over a long period. He fought all the guys out there.
Another thing about him, too, is he is an underdog, interestingly enough, for the first time since 1978 when he fought Ken Norton for the title. 23 fights ago. That was the last time Larry Holmes was an underdog, and he is a big underdog tonight. Well, about this time, just in every fight, Ray Leonard, we take a look at the things that both fighters need to do to win the fight. And so why don't we do that now while we await the arrival of Larry Holmes. And let's have your tip of the night in this one.
Well, Barry, the left jab of Larry Holmes would prove to be a valuable weapon tonight against Mike Tyson. Against Ernie Shavers, his jab was so effective, Barry, and the reason I say that is because he snapped it. It would snap the head back of his opponent. Beautiful jab, very effective jab. But while he was defending his title against Michael Spinks, his jab wasn't present. He was trying to stick his jab out, but he pulled it. It was not that effective. But as you can see here in the second encounter, it was a different Larry Holmes. Apparently he trained hard because he was very aggressive. He turned this into a street brawl. I doubt very seriously if he's able to do that to Mike Tyson. Now Holmes' right hand has always been criticized, but here against Michael Spinks, it was evident there was a lot of power behind it, a great deal of leverage. Here, Mike Tyson, or as I call him, Mr. Body Puncher, punched away at Biggs and did most of the damage to his body. And we should pretty much see the same scenario against Larry Holmes. Now, he must stay busy, because what happens when he's not busy, as Bunker Smith is showing us, he ties his man up. He becomes very, very vulnerable to being slowed down his rhythm. His hand speed is incredible. That's what I respect about Mike Tyson. He puts his punches together very, very well. Good combination fighter.
Is Larry Holmes going to be able to rough up Mike Tyson? I think that may be the bottom line of this whole fight.
I think we may see Larry Holmes jumping right on Mike Tyson. He has to. He has to initiate some respect.
But can he do it? I mean, what they say, what everybody says is the only way you're going to beat a fighter like Tyson is to move him back. Now, every fighter says, yeah, I'm able to do that, and we haven't seen anybody do it yet. Can Larry Holmes do it?
I don't necessarily agree, just move him back. You just have to frustrate Mike Tyson and commit to mistakes and capitalize on those mistakes.
Larry Holmes is just making Mike Tyson wait. Of course, the challenger is going to come into the ring first, so Tyson's going to wait for Holmes as long as it takes. But Mike Tyson is just getting angrier and angrier. Now, you might think that would behoove Larry Holmes, but when I asked Kevin Rooney about that just the other day, because I kind of thought he might come out, as Ray said, and really rough him up, Larry Merchant, he said, Kevin Rooney said that Mike Tyson is actually better when he's a little bit ticked off.
I just heard something. We got a report that Mike Tyson was so upset because of the stalling of Larry Holmes, he punched a hole through the wall in his dressing room. Can you believe that? Is that anger or what?
I'll have to see it.
I'm with you too, Larry.
What about the old thing that Larry Holmes has been saying, that you leave the battery on too long and the battery goes dead? He says, but you rest it and the battery recharges itself. Do you buy that? Does the battery recharge itself?
Well, Barry, what I've assumed now is the fact that Larry Holmes is trying to relive the days of yesterday, because he's playing the same song that he played years ago. Ain't no stopping us now.
Well, Larry Holmes is making his way toward the ring now, but interestingly enough, it's not the way that he was supposed to come into the ring, and it just seems that Larry Holmes is doing everything he can just to disrupt things here.
Well, I think that the guy who eventually beats the champion is somebody who has similar skills to Larry Holmes when Larry Holmes was on top of his game. Someone who could frustrate him, make him anxious, make him wild, and have the nerve and the poise to stand in there while the bombs are flying all around him.
Well, let me ask you another thing, Ray. Richie Giacchetti, who of course is Larry Holmes' trainer and has been, but for an 18-month period since the very, very early days of Larry Holmes' career, says that Mike Tyson is made to order for Larry Holmes because he's right in front of you and he has to get set to be able to punch. But Kevin Rooney says that Mike Tyson definitely has a lot of head movement and you can't just punch him.
Mike Tyson used to be in front of you, but now Kevin Rooney has him giving angles. He's slipping and sliding, and all those methods of training has paid off.
Larry Holmes now in the ring.
And Mike Tyson waited about a second and a half, and he almost is running down here.
And you might notice, too, there's no music, no fanfare for Mike Tyson. Goes right along with his outfit. No robe, black trunks, no socks, black shoes, all business.
Talk about let's get it on. He didn't even want to wait that long.
Incidentally, we did have reports that there was a death threat against Mike Tyson. That's all we know. We don't know where it came from, how it was delivered, and we don't even know if Mike Tyson knows about it. There is a look at an angry young man.
Larry Holmes, it looks to me he's going to fight this man the first round.
Don't get exercised here, Ray. Let's not get overexcited. And there is the record of Larry Holmes. Won 48 in a row, of course, before he lost those 2 fights to Michael Spinks.
He's a businessman. He says this isn't a sport, it's a sporting business. That's the way he looks at it. And speaking of all business, Mike Tyson 32-0 with the 28 knockouts. He fights about 4 times a year as champion. He is moving up in the record books, getting up there with some very, very big names in heavyweight history.
Just 21 years old and fighting his 6th heavyweight championship fight already.
And the tail of the tape, we told you about the 17-year age difference. And the weight really not any kind of a factor. Tyson a little bit lighter than he might have expected, but he was 218 the day before the fight. And Holmes a couple pounds heavier than he was in the second Spinks fight.
Now that reach difference, 10 inches, might have meant something when Larry Holmes had that great snapping jab that he could impale an opponent on. And here is our punch stat numbers. This is a device to get a statistical profile of the activity of fighters, and as you can see, the figures are roughly the same. Tyson throws a fewer punches than Holmes did in the past, but the Holmes numbers are hard to measure because he hasn't been active. And there you see the jabs, Tyson throwing fewer, Holmes of course throwing many more.
And the rules for this one, it is a 12-round fight, incidentally. WBA and WBC now 12 rounds. Other than that, they're the rules for just about every fight you see here on HBO. No 3 knockdown rule, and a fighter can be saved with the bell only in the last round. Normally, that's not the rule in New Jersey, but they have changed it for this particular fight. So what's left then is to get it on, and to do that, let's go up to the ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to heavyweight history here in Convention Hall in Atlantic City. Now, before the official introductions, I would like to acknowledge a man here in the ring who is indeed a man of heavyweight history. In 1960, he was an Olympic gold medal champion. In 1964, he became the heavyweight champion of the world. In 1974, he again won the heavyweight title. And in 1978, he became the only man in heavyweight history to win 3 world championships. Ladies and gentlemen, the former 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali! Muhammad Ali! And now, Don King Productions and the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino present heavyweight history. This bout is presented in association with the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. It is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard, Chairman Jerry Gormley, Deputy Commissioners Nick D. Balistrari and Lawrence Wallace. Representing the World Boxing Council, its president, Jose Sulaiman, and ringside supervisor, Dwayne Ford. The referee for this bout is Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the white trunks with red trim and weighs 225 3/4 pounds. From Easton, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 48 victories, only 2 defeats, 34 KOs. For 7.5 years, he ruled the division as an undefeated champion with 20 successful defenses. Tonight, he's the challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, the man known as the Eastern Assassin, former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes! And in the red corner, wearing the solid black trunks, weighing 215 3/4 pounds, from Catskill, New York, which is the hometown of the late great trainer of champions, Cus D'Amato. His professional record, a perfect 32-0, 28 KOs, 23 KOs in 4 rounds or less, and 16 knockouts in the first round. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world,
gentlemen, I gave you both the rules in the dressing room. And remember what I told you. I'm here to enforce my rules. Obey my commands at all times. Any questions? All right, shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
To me, guys, the real issue here is how Larry Holmes is going to deal with this force of nature in front of him when he gets hurt. Will he just fold up? Will he fight back as he did all through his career? Or will he just hang on?
Yeah, I think that's really been the mystique of this fight this week, and I think that's really what's made it the event that it is. Round one.
I called Larry Holmes from my home, and he said that, Ray, I would not run for Mike Tyson, which implies he's ready to exchange punch for punch.
Ray, I have to ask you, Eddie Futch said anybody with an iota of tactical wisdom would go after the body and take away Larry Holmes' legs. Agree?
You notice exactly, but you see what Larry Holmes is trying to do. He's trying to use that reach advantage. Keep that stiff hand out there and not let Mike Tyson get his punches off. Again, we see Mike Tyson not throwing punches this time. We'll see a lot of tying up from Larry Holmes, or we should see a lot of tying up.
And Holmes does work the body, rather Tyson works the body earlier.
Again, Larry's preserving those legs. He's not doing a lot of dancing, a lot of moving, but you need to see more jabs. He's keeping his man off by extending a stiff left hand.
Holmes has contradicted himself as far as whether or not he's going to use the jab. Sometimes he says he will, other times he says I don't need it. I'll go to the right hand and right uppercuts.
See, Tyson's having a few problems here, not being able to measure Larry Holmes. And I think that's what Larry Holmes has in mind, to try to frustrate Mike and make him run into him.
All right, break out. All right, break out. Stop punching, Mike. Stop punching. Break out to you guys. Break out to you.
We also notice that there's not a snap. Larry Holmes is not snapping his jab, but actually, which has proven to be effective thus far, he's extending his left hand.
Just holding Mike Tyson off.
All right, break out. Let's go. Break out, please. Break out, please, guys. Break out, please.
What Tyson has to do, he has to try to do a couple head feints and work his way inside and work the body.
All right, Larry, let it go, Larry. Break out to you. Larry, break out to you.
But once again, the popular school of thought is that Larry Holmes is going to have to back up Mike Tyson. Nobody's been able to do it yet. Left hand by Tyson. Holmes got out of there. Didn't seem to hurt him, though.
What Tyson needs to do is just pick the pace up. He's drilled the right hand to the body. Good idea, because again, try to slow the movement down.
All right, let it go, please. Let it go, Larry. Larry, let it go. Let's go, step back. Let's go.
Joe Cortez, the referee in this game, ironically, he was the judge who gave Larry Holmes the fight against Michael Spinks, the second Michael Spinks fight.
You're holding now. Let's go.
He could not score in this fight, however.
Tyson was trying to jump in with the left hook.
In that round anyway, the landmark avoided the record's ball.
Understand? Don't fuck around with this guy. Get pressure right on this guy. Spit it right in there. Spit it in there. Man, now listen to me. You're not using your jab at all. I want you to be aggressive behind the left hand.
Range on your jab, make it hurt a little more. You gotta make the jab count a little more. Chin down. You're right. Chin down. Then when you do it for the jab, then you come up with your left hook. Come up, then come back. 3-punch combination.
Pop, 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 pop. Remember, pop, pop.
Okay?
To the body. Then bring it upstairs. But use the jab behind the jab. You understand?
Larry Holmes only threw 10 punches in the first round, and not too many of them in anger.
And just to elaborate on that, by comparison, Tyrell Biggs threw 44 and Tony Tucker threw 61.
Larry Holmes is being very economical in there. He's not wasting a lot of energy. He's just trying to preserve that strength. A right hand thrown with serious convictions by Larry Holmes. Didn't land, but he tried to measure. We see once again the tying up by Larry Holmes. Kevin Rooney, Barry, wanted Mike to go to the body. Good stiff jab by Mike.
Strong jab. Kevin Rooney also told Mike Tyson 3-punch combinations.
All right, break out, let go. Let go, Larry.
Remember the numbering system we talked about before the fight that Mike Tyson and Kevin Rooney used.
Larry Holmes must be careful when he tries to evade Mike Tyson because his hands are down, and the way Mike throws those looping and powerful punches, he may get caught with one of those hooks.
Holmes so far going with a lot of right-hand leads and a lot of uppercuts.
Larry basically is abandoning his left jab and trying to actually set up Mike with the right hand. He's trying to time Mike coming in.
All right, let him go, Larry. Break out, please.
He's not letting Mike get his punches off. He's tying him up every opportunity he gets. There was another attempt. It fell short. The body's wide open, and Tyson attacks him. I'm watching for an uppercut from Larry Holmes. A right uppercut.
He's tried a couple of them. Very close to a headbutt right there also.
What Larry's doing, he's throwing his jab, not with a lot of force, but he's throwing it, and he's waiting for Mike to duck down to come under with the right hand. Right uppercut.
Come on. Let's go. Work on it. Work the head inside, guys. Let's go. All right, Larry, break. Larry, you're holding it, Larry. Let's go.
Joe Cortez talking to Larry Holmes about holding. There's a left hook by Tyson.
So far, this is a fight that only the American Medical Association could love. Also, my wife, who hates violence.
Does she really, Larry?
Whenever you get inside, bullshit. Don't tell me I ain't holding inside. You're not punching. You let him hold you. Don't hand me that crap. Spit down the book. We don't have another bucket. Now spit down that one. Go ahead. And take that. Give me the mouthpiece. One jab, one decent jab in the land. You gotta put pressure on this guy, Michael. You gotta punch every time you get it.
Tyson did get closer to Larry at the end of the round with that wide combination of right to the body and a left that just grazed the mouth area.
Come on. All right, seconds out. Last retreat. Seconds out, retreat.
Holmes is practicing what Archie Moore used to call escapology. The question is, when is he going to start to practice fightology?
Both guys must be extremely careful. For Larry Holmes, he can't move away with those hands down because of the way Mike Tyson punches. For Mike Tyson, he has to be careful of not getting over anxious and coming in, winging those shots because they become telegraphed because of frustration.
Tyson using a long left jab, much more than we've seen him do in his last 2 or 3 fights.
See, Larry Holmes, Barry, is trying to time Tyson coming in. That's the right hand.
Tyson says, no, it didn't hurt. That usually means it hurt.
Again, it nearly happened again there. Tyson must be extremely careful about just rushing in there.
All right, break out clean. Break out. No question. Break out.
In the corner, Tyson complained to Kevin Rooney that Larry Holmes was holding him, and Kevin Rooney disagreed. Say, forget about that. You just go ahead and fight your fight. We see some snapping jabs from Larry Holmes now. The uppercut.
All right, break out clean. Let's go. Get his arms out. Get him out. Let's go.
Holmes is using every advantage that he has. The height, the long arms, and a little bit of movement.
And just waiting and trying to time Mike Tyson, and he has done it a couple of times. Hasn't hurt Tyson, but he has caught him a couple of times.
No question about it. Larry Holmes has studied the tapes of Bone Crusher Smith.
There's a right hand lead by Tyson.
That fell short. Caught Larry on the shoulder.
Left hand caught Holmes ducking in, but no damage.
Larry Holmes going to the body. What Tyson has to maintain is his composure. He can't get frustrated.
Break out clean, let's go.
Holmes doing a lot of grabbing, a lot of clutching.
Again, you see what happened there.
A little bit of an elbow there from Larry Holmes, too.
Well, actually, Larry Holmes is just really trying to upset Mike and get Mike out of this fight plan. I think Mike Tyson should pick up the pace. He's fighting Larry Holmes' pace. That was the kind of shots that create a lot of damage.
Holmes is complaining about a low blow, and I think he was right. Joe Cortez says keep him up to Mike Tyson. That was a big right hand. Best punch of the fight.
Followed up by another good punch right after the bell. Holmes did do more fighting in that round, but he's playing a game called beat the clock. Trying to fight about 30 seconds of each round.
Big one, big one, big one, big one.
All right, Big Jack.
So, another one.
Me. Let him do it.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Hold on. Let's go now. Come on now. You got to go. Turn it up.
It ain't over till it's over. This round had its best action right at the very end and right after the bell. Neither punch damaging.
Stay relaxed. Keep your knees bent, your defense tight, but keep your balance. Working behind a good hard jab. When you get inside, no, you got it. Who got it?
All right, second down.
Right hand to the head.
It was Customato who said that sometimes a great old fighter who appears to be shot can pull together one big effort.
Look at Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes is trying it right here.
Look at the jab. It started to stick out and snap.
And the crowd is really into this. Has been from the opening bell.
Look at the jab. Larry hands are down. He's popping the jab. Watch. Listen to the crowd now, Barry. It's fascinating how they change all of a sudden.
I seem to hear that same kind of reaction, I think, in another fight out in Las Vegas not too many months ago.
Oh, yeah, people change their mind because all of a sudden, Larry Holmes is putting up a pretty good fight.
Well, we talked about the fact that Holmes one day said he would jab, and the next day said he'd use his right hand and an uppercut. He's done both.
Larry got hit by a left hook, Barry, because he stood straight up and wasn't moving and didn't have his hands up. And that's going to happen time and time again. He cannot afford to do that. Like here, for example, you must tie his man up.
Let's go, come on. Let's go, Larry. Work out of it, guys. Larry, let's go. All right, break out clean. Let's go. You got the hole. Let's go.
That was a right hand, and down goes Holmes from a crashing right hand.
The old Larry Holmes would always get up and fire back. But he's in against a guy who is a tremendous finisher.
And down he goes again from another right.
There's a full minute left in this round.
Larry trying to clear his head. That's why he's walking around. What he needs to do now is either tie his man up. He can't move because he's not steady. He needs to just hold on.
It will take every bit of savvy that this man has. Tries to fight back. Still 40 seconds left.
He's still on Queer Street.
And took another big right hand. 30 seconds left. Tyson just looking for the one shot.
Well,
15 seconds left.
Tyson still has to be careful because Larry, that shot, that's
Huge
it.
right hand.
That should be it.
And down goes Holmes, and that's going to be it. It's over. That's all.
Mike Tyson looked like a bull in an antique shop. And what he did was he cut down the old grandfather clock. But we did see something of the old Larry Holmes, which was his great fighting heart, something always underestimated.
He got within 8 seconds of the end of the round. His leg really buckled underneath him, too, and I wouldn't be surprised if he might not have had a little problem there as well. But I think Larry Merchant really hit it. Mike Tyson is a great finisher.
Well, I tell you, Mike Tyson did the right thing as he's done in the past. He takes advantage of the opportunities, but you have to give Larry Holmes credit. Larry fought from the heart. You know, when Larry first said that, you know, he's fighting for this reason, that reason, I have problems with that. But he indicated to me in these 4 rounds that he was really trying to win a fight.
And he fought what you'd have to consider a smart fight, too. He seemed to do everything right for the time he was around. Here's the first knockdown now. Let's take a look at it. Big right hand right up on the top of the, over the eye.
It was a short right hand, overhand right that Mike Tyson delivered.
Watch it again. This is still the first knockdown. Set up with the left, and look at that right hand.
It was a beautiful right hand, the way it was executed, Barry, because he threw his jab, stepped inside, and delivered that overhand right. You watch the way that Mike Tyson steps in. Beautiful right hand. It was almost like a right hook.
And the second knockdown equally as pretty from the eyes of Mike Tyson. This is knockdown number 2 now. He had Holmes off balance, a left hand there. And that was more a cumulative effect than anything else.
At this point, he was wearing Larry Holmes down. And here, Larry Holmes trying to tie up Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson, with his incredible strength, he comes up with a right hand to the top of the head.
And Larry Holmes doing what he had always done, and that is fighting back after he was hurt.
Mike Tyson at this point here is perpetual motion. He's not giving up. He's standing right in the chest of Larry Holmes. Larry's trying his best he can because his legs are not really that stable, but he's trying to maintain. And here, this was just the amount of time here. Those shots to the body, some coming to the top of the head, but here was when Larry was really, really hurt.
That's still the second knockdown. There was still the third knockdown, I beg your pardon. That was the final knockdown, the third knockdown.
Larry's trying to use his arms, trying to cover up. Here at this point, referee should have stepped in, but I guess it's the respect of a champion of Larry Holmes' reputation. Holmes just being pummeled at this point. That right hand did a lot of damage. Larry legs went behind him.
Saw his left leg buckle behind him. One more look at the third and final knockdown. And the left hand was just a coup de grace, but it was definitely cumulative. I would have to say that Mike Tyson, from the first knockdown, probably hit him with 15 or 20 unanswered punches. So it's over, and let's go up to the ring announcer, Michael Buffer, and get the official decision.
Here's the official time. The end comes at 2 minutes, 55 seconds of the 4th round. The winner, and still the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.